The story for Hasti started for us long before she was born. We have two other boys who are 2 and 4 years old, older than her. So they're 12 and 10 now. And Hengame always wanted a little girl. So the idea of Hasti came long before Hasti. And we tried for such a long time and it just wasn't happening. And we were even thinking about IVF, you know, as something we might want to do just to complete our family. And we got news, Hengame was pregnant.
On a day we went to do scan, that was a 20-week scan, that we found out what is the baby, what is the sex. And when I was told it's a girl, I was over the moon. The main part of it is that, you know, I always wanted to have a girl, to give her all the opportunities I didn't have.
And all the initial signs, everything said she was healthy weight, everything was looking really good. And then Hasti was born in December. She was just a few days before Christmas, so the best Christmas present we could have hoped for, really. We were so happy to have her, and she really completed our family.
And the moment the nurse showed Hasti to me, I looked at her face and I just thought, there's something different.
Hasti had a tough first part of her life. She had lots of feeding difficulties. She was choking on her milk, refusing her milk. We later found out after a little bit of time that she had very severe acid reflux. So every time she was drinking, it was burning her throat. And ultimately that meant that Hasti just stopped feeding at some point.
For a year, I fed Hasti what they call it dream feeding. I used every trick. Sometimes even I just fed her drops with a syringe.
But at that point still, we didn't know exactly what was going on. I deployed to Afghanistan on operations in April, so when Hasti was about 5 months old. It became clear while I was there, while speaking with Hengame, that not everything was well on the home front. Hasti was deteriorating, wasn't feeding well, was losing weight for a time. She had a few short stints in and out of hospital. And I was 5,000 miles away hearing about this on the phone, which wasn't easy.
Obviously, being a very rare disease, nobody knew about it.
After I attended the appointment where I was given the diagnosis for Hasti, but it took me about an hour to drive home. I was with Hasti, and I remember for the whole hour thinking to myself, don't cry in front of Hasti.
And he came back. He walked through the door and he was a broken man. He cried his eyes out. I'd never seen him crying that hard. Shaking, and I just didn't know what to do.
And I told her that we'd received a diagnosis for Cornelia de Lange syndrome. I had to tell her all the horrible things that I'd been told that we had to look forward to with Hasti. Never being able to complete school, never having the cognitive ability to achieve a full education, and therefore never be able to have an independent life. All the hopes we had for her at that point died. Knowing that in the future Hasti would suffer from seizures as she became a teenager, how she would ultimately regress, how she would eventually stop talking. Lots of children with this disease become mute for reasons that nobody understands. Heggie was devastated. And it broke my heart to be the one to have to tell her that. If you see her from a distance, she seems like every other girl. She loves to dance. She loves to swim. She loves her friends. She's so kind. And she just wants to be a child, and she has ambitions like every other child. She wants to be a chef. She wants to be a dancer. But we know CDLS is a death sentence for those dreams.
Hasti been through a lot, really, as I said before, and still has kept to be very kind girl, amazingly kind girl. I don't know where she gets that, even when she had no words, anybody in the hospital did anything for her, she kissed their hands. She actually, voluntarily pulled their hands to kiss their hands, just to show her gratitude. That was the only way she could, because she had no words.
Hasti has regular speech and language therapy. We do speech and language therapy with Hasti every day. And because Hasti and other kids with CDLS tend to be small in stature, she has growth hormone deficiency, for which she needs daily injections.
Last summer of 2019, I went to the CDLS World Conference in Germany, and that was for the first time I heard about gene therapy. So, gene therapy has been around in one form or another for a long time, but in the last few years, with certain advancements, now what they can do for children and adults alike who have a faulty gene like Hasti does that causes all of these problems for her, is that they can deliver the healthy gene to the body. So they use a virus which is cascaded into the body and can replace the faulty gene with the good gene. What does that mean for Hasti? For Hasti, it means that the difficulties she has with cognition and with learning and all the challenges she presents in picking up simple skills that other children find so easy could be ironed out. And for other children, more importantly, who will have this diagnosis in the future, it will help them to a much greater extent, because if they can get this therapy early on, following a really early diagnosis, then they needn't go through all of the difficulties we've been through. Early diagnosis and early intervention makes a world of difference for children with these kinds of rare genetic diseases. £2.5 million is a huge sum of money, and we know that. It's not the sort of money that we can ever even hope to make in our 2 lifetimes. And we know it's a lot to ask, and we aren't the kind of people to ask for help. But we can't help Hasti or other children with CDLS unless we get help from everyone. And these are the kinds of numbers that the experts in the field are telling us that we need to be able to generate in order to get to a therapy that will help children with CDLS. And we're not asking for huge sums of money or huge donations. Someone said to me once, "How do you eat an elephant? You eat it one bite at a time." Every donation, no matter how small, even £1, £2.50, the price of a coffee that we all drink every day and think nothing about it, all chips away and helps pay for this really amazing research which will help all of these children who suffer with this terrible, terrible disease. Every donation made, every pound raised will go towards developing a proof of concept for a treatment and producing the actual treatment itself. Anything beyond the target we make or any excess monies that we have, we will donate to the CDLS Foundation.